Hello, good morning, or whatever time it is by you. If it's in the afternoon, I guess if you're over the Atlantic Ocean, it's Chris, your favorite coach, your favorite host, all things favorite. If you don't have a favorite, if you're lacking any favorites in your life, just let it be me. Why not be me? So welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Chris, where me, Chris, have conversations with people that I find are interesting, and I share with all of you. And whether you think they're interesting or not, I don't really care, which is cool. So it's just a conversation today between me and the one and only Erin Bites. So here she is. Yay!
Yay!
So, fan, I can't think of a better way to start this thing off than to ask you, how did you become Erin Bites? Give us a little background of your story and, what led you up until this moment in your life.
That's a really broad question. And anybody who's been on this before or has watched might know already that we get no preparation for this. He just asked the questions and then we're supposed to just pop up with the answer.
It's spontaneous AF. I hope you're okay with that. That's how we do.
Yeah. So, well, I like to cook and we started making these videos. Actually, I was asked through a friend to audition for a cooking show. And so we made a video and it was fun. And then it came up again to audition for another one. So we made another video and, kind of stemmed from there. I like to cook. I'm good at it. I'm super fun and funny because, when you tell somebody how fun and funny you are, maybe you're not really so fun and funny. And I don't know, it's just kind of blossomed from there, although it's been on a hiatus now for a little while also.
Well, how'd you get into cooking to begin with? So this is not something, typically somebody that gets into cooking and is interested in it has some sort of genesis story or entry into it.
Yeah, so that is kind of a funny story. I had never cooked in my life. My mom is a really good cook. My grandmothers were all really good cooks. My great-grandmother, everybody was amazing cooks. And I just never cooked because I was really lazy. So I got to college and my first year I was in the dorms. So I went to the dining hall. I never had to cook there. And the first summer of after college, I lived in an apartment and I was with a bunch of people and I didn't know anybody. They put you together in this apartment and you're just with strangers and it's weird. And so everybody was kind of hiding in their room or they would eat by themselves or everybody would go out or whatever. And I couldn't live like that. I was I can't just live with a bunch of strangers. So I offered to cook everybody dinner one night, but I had never cooked anything. I don't even think I had made toast before, maybe not even an egg. And so I called my mom and she gave me an idea of what to cook and I did it and it came out so good. I told my roommates that I was going to start cooking for them every week on Tuesdays. So every week on Tuesdays I would cook for my roommates and I loved it and I was good at it. I would make things up or I would get a recipe and I just naturally changed it on my own because I kind of am a little ADHD. So I don't I can't really even follow the recipe. I could not follow a recipe if I sat there and said, okay, I'm going to do this step, then this. I just can't. I just do my own thing. And it kind of went from there. And I've always since then cooked.
That's so, you would think that now was in college, right?
That was in college, yeah.
And you think maybe at that point, were you ever inspired to kind of get into the restaurant industry as a chef or follow that culinary calling? What happened after that?
No. There's a couple things happened. First of all, I had always worked in restaurants, but I had always worked front of the house before. Since I was 14, I worked in a bagel shop. And since then I had been in food always, any job that I had.
Food's been in me for a long time, actually. So
I know that's how I stole your heart. I lost my own train of thought.
You worked in restaurants, but you're always in the front.
There was a point where we had talked about me possibly going to culinary school before college, after college, not before college, but during college. I actually transferred from the University of Maryland to the University of Miami. And a discussion was in there about me possibly going to Johnson & Wales. But part of the reason why I was leaving Maryland was because of the cold. And the big Johnson & Wales, I think it's in Rhode Island. There is a campus in Miami, but it's not, it's very commuter and it just didn't make sense for me. So I didn't do it. And I just kind of never did it. But this is a theme in my life. And actually, this is, for me, why we're having this talk today.
All right. So you can see you never went to culinary school, but you stayed cooking the whole time. So I mean, you get out of college, what'd your professional career look like? Nothing to do with cooking or food.
Nothing to do with cooking or food, although I continued to cook and eat. I started when I first graduated college. Well, I had amassed all these credits, and I transferred from University of Maryland to University of Miami, and I had amassed all these credits, but I still didn't have a major. I was majoring in what you always say, 100 classes. I was majoring in introductory classes. Yeah, and I amassed all these credits, and I had enough to graduate. So I actually transferred to a public university, FIU, which actually we looked at statistics. It's a great school now. I don't even know if I could get in anymore. I transferred to FIU and just graduated because I just had all the credits, and it was time to be done. But I graduated literally with a degree in nothing. It's liberal studies is what it's called, and there's no concentration. I mean, I just went for a few years to college. But it is a 4-year degree. It's a BA, not a BS. And from there, I actually taught school. Like, this is the crazy thing. You could graduate with a degree in nothing, and they'll just let you teach children. So I took a test, and I ended up teaching middle school language arts. If you know me at all, you know this probably was not a great fit. So I did that for a school year, and then another school year I was a sub, and I would just sub at a couple different schools, maybe not even for a whole school year I did that. And then I was invited to take a position in my family company. We acquired Office Depot as a client, and the Office Depot office was 2 minutes from my house, and they wanted somebody who was a lower level employee to work in their office as kind of a go-between.
Yeah.
So I was offered that position, and I worked my way up into being a salesperson for the company. I was the top salesperson quarter over quarter, to quote my resume. And I did really, really well with that company. And I was there for, I think, 4 years. And then the company was sold. And after that, I opened a gym. I did that for a little while. I don't know. Again, my majoring in introductory classes here. And after that, I kind of, got married and had kids and did that. I was the PTO president for 9 years. And that's it.
So, I mean, one of the things that you kind of embraced early is there's not a lot of kids in their 20s that would kind of have this kind of major success from a sales role with their job, and then you got into investing early, right? So, I mean, what was your thought process around that? Saying, man, I mean, was that motivated by your self-proclaimed laziness?
No, it's just it's all motivated by not knowing what to do with myself. So what do? I can find a way to live without having to really think about what to do with myself. So that was what I did.
Surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you in certain areas?
That's absolutely what I've done my entire life.
And so for the past 14 years, so you've been stepping on the gas as a mom. And so what are some of the things that in going what you've gone through up until that age, now kids are coming into adulthood. What are some things that you learned about life that you'd want to instill in your kids?
Well, what I wish I would have done for myself is to really, I just hope they find their passion. I hope they find something they're good at, something they love, and then they actually take action on that, because that's kind of my thing, is that I have this thing that I love, which is where Erin Bites comes in. And I start to sometimes take a little action, and then I kind of don't. I kind of don't do anything. And I kind of don't know what to do. I get overwhelmed and I start to think to myself, what's the point?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I don't know. Do we come from this generation where we almost feel, it's almost like we feel like because I think a lot of people our age never thought of, hey, I can do shit that I love all the time. And I could live my dream and my passion, and it will also fulfill me financially. And I can actually be a functioning human in society, an adult, by doing my passion. I mean, did you kind of come from a place where you never even considered that? You never even considered, man, I could follow my passion and it could be everything I needed to be.
Well, I never really had passion for anything. I was never like really driven. Like there's people who like really love things, and I'm just not
Mhm.
one of these people. Like I just don't, I mean, I don't really love anything. Like I like to cook, I enjoy it, and I do, and it does light me up. And with the weight loss stuff, like there's things that light me up and that I get excited about, but
Mm.
it's just not like a passion that I'm like,
Mm.
there's things I could do. So when I do start to follow that, that kind of thing, I can't, it like doesn't, it just doesn't light me up. I just can't, I don't know. I can't keep going because I start thinking like, what's the point? Like, why am I even doing this? Like for example, with Erin Bites, with the cooking show, I'm doing it and we're making the videos. And then I'm like, what's the point? Am I doing this to promote somebody? Am I doing this to promote myself? Am I doing this to make recipes? I had talked about, doing blog posts, but I'm not making recipes. And I am making recipes, but then I have to actually make a real recipe. Like I can't just cook and say crazy things. I would have to like write a recipe. And these aren't things that I have any interest in at all. So it's like what's even the point to all this? Like I'm just making videos because that's fun and that's great, but it kind of becomes pressure, and then I don't know what's the point. And I think I've said that like 5 times. And that's kind of where I get stuck with most
Like,
things.
and what's the point of it all? And I think maybe that comes
Right.
down to not your underlying purpose. Like I know, like what's the point in me doing any of the things that I do? And my goal, I just want to make everyone's life a little bit better, a little bit more fun and enjoyable as a result of meeting me, whether it's online at the grocery store or whether it's in a professional relationship. So, and all that stuff is certainly connected for me. But for you, you get something out of cooking, out of creating, out of feeding people, right? So out of
I like to feed
and
people.
you're the consummate host yourself. I mean, you like to have get-togethers and parties, and you like to cook for people, and you like to entertain people. And I mean, what's the point of all that? What's that do to you? What's that do for you?
I don't know. But the funny thing is that, by the way, about cooking, I built this tribe of family, this big army of children that I have here that I've amassed for myself, and none of them like my food. So so I could fulfill it all by just cooking for them every day, but they don't want it.
Because well, maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a reason for that. So, on this thing, what's the point? So, we talk. We're live, by the way. If anybody has any questions, you could just post them in the comments, and then we'll be able to see them. And then we can bring them up here, and we can answer questions live because it's live, it's candid, it's spontaneous. What's the point of all this, right? So, and you actually had you want to ask other people, hey, and things that they do when you do see people that are passionate about things that are driven, and you want to ask them, what's the point
What's
of
the
all
point? Yeah. So this brings us to, I think, really for me at least, why we wanted to do this today, because I have decided I'm not putting the cooking shows on hold. I'm not putting Erin Bites on hold. I'm trying to progress Erin Bites into something that I can feel good about and have passion about. And the kind of next step, I think, in where I'm going with this is to start asking people, what's the point? And it's going to be a different answer for everybody. It sounds negative when I say it, which that's just my personality. That's why I'm Erin Bites, because Erin bites a little. The question is what's the point? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing what you do? And the hope would be that I could find my why from hearing other people's whys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there is something to that. But have you ever, do you know it when you see it, when you talk to another person that is legitimately passionate about what they do and is like really connected to their like why on a deep level, and what they're doing, they feel that what they're doing is profound. Do you recognize that when you see it?
I do sometimes. Sometimes I don't trust in that, but I do see it and recognize it. But I still, even when you find your why, I still am trying to figure out what's the point.
What's the point of all of it, right? We're just
Right.
living in
What's
this.
the point of all of it?
We're all living on this alien ant farm.
Yeah, it sounds really like jaded, like that I say it like that, and it's not meant to be. It's just Like, what's the point to any of it? I mean, why do we all do the things that we do? What are we doing and why? And for me, I've kind of done nothing because I don't have a point. I don't know what's the point. And anytime I start doing something, I'm like, oh, why am I doing this?
Well, does it, I mean, I think we do things for different reasons. And does it give us joy, right? Does it bring us happiness? Because really life is a journey, not a destination, right? And it's like, so what am I doing? I mean, for me, everything that I do, I just want to have a shitload of fun doing it. So I'm just saying, and I want to bring as many people with me across the finish line as possible. So it's like, am I having everything that I'm doing? Am I having a shitload of fun doing this? And can it be better? And if there's a way to do all that and have loads of fun, and make it, in my professional career and everything that I do in my personal career, that's what I want to do. And I think that's, it sounds so simple and basic, but that's really what it is. But I'm like, always like, hey, does this feel good for me right now? Is this good? Right.
Well, so most of the things that I do are purely for personal enjoyment. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing about that is that personal enjoyment is not the same as personal fulfillment. So when I do all of the things that I want to do because it's fun for me to do it and I enjoy myself, I don't find it to be fulfilling. And that's where that disconnect comes in and what I'm trying to find. How do you make what you do for fun fulfilling and be enough and find and solve the point?
Well, and so like, so what are you thinking when you're, what are you hoping to, I mean, what kind of questions are you going to ask folks to come onto this podcast? What's the point? If you're in front of someone that's super passionate about what they're doing, they're connected with their why, and you see it and you're like, man, there's something to that. What are you hoping to find out? What are some questions that you would ask them?
Well, something.
Yeah, Brett, there you go, Erin. Yeah. Thanks, so that deserves a hashtag. Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett. I have asked Brett, what's the point a lot of times actually in our discussions. Sorry, so what you just said, we hadn't said yet. With this, I am going to be launching a podcast called What's the Point? And I think that's what it's going to be called. And in my What's the Point podcast, I'm going to be asking people, what's the point? And what did you ask? What kind of questions am I going to be asking? The first thing I'm going to ask them is, what's the point? And from there, hopefully, the conversation will just get going. I think that I'm going to do it kind of in your style because, we live together and it's just easier that way for everybody. Oh my goodness. So I think that the first people that I'm going to talk to are going to be people who we know have these like major points in life. Like there's, some coaches that I have in mind that I would really like to talk to. And other people who I have some friends who are influencers who I would like to talk to and people like that. And I want to ask them, what's the point? And hopefully we can just get the conversation going. Yeah. I don't have questions prepped at this time. I hope that they'll just come to me. If not, it'll just be super boring.
Well, not even necessarily what questions, and because how I feel about prepped questions, but it's what are you hoping to discover or uncover? I mean, I've talked to people and fulfillment's a funny thing, and everybody's fulfilled for different things. And sometimes I'll see somebody and I'll be like, how could that person possibly be fulfilled? And vice versa. And it's like, sometimes I'll come across somebody. To me, if a business makes nothing but money, it's a poor business. But I know plenty of people that are like, hey, what's the point? I just want to make a shitload of money and I'm happy doing that. So I remember talking to a guy and I said, what made you want to get into investment banking? And he said, well, Chris, no matter what you do, it's going to suck. So you might as well make a lot of money doing it. And I was like, that doesn't sound good. I mean, well, so then, but why that distinction? Why can't I do something that's awesome and make a lot of money doing it? And does that pose a question? Does everybody in investment banking hate it and do it just for the money? I don't think so.
That's a good question.
I think there's people that really enjoy it. And I think with this whole thing, you're really looking to talk to the people in any industry, in any walk of life that are really enjoying and getting fulfillment out of what they're doing, regardless of what they're doing, right? Because there's coaches out there that they just saw an opportunity to make a shitload of money.
Right.
They're like, I'm going to get into coaching and make a lot of money. But then there's coaches out there that are like, hey, man, I'd rather be poor living on a commune. And I just want to help people have better lives, right?
Well, I think that, I guess my hope is that I'm going to just be able to grab a little bit of everybody's passion to ignite something within myself. And I hope that I walk away from every conversation with a little spark of something new that will, change my thought process. As, people who are close to me know, I've been really working on attempting to be a little bit more positive and to go through life with some excitement that I don't have sometimes, and some positivity and some, purpose. So hopefully with each person I speak to, we can get a little closer to that.
How can you not, right? It's look at this planet we live on. It's so cool. This is blackness all around us. I mean, you look at our planet, it's so colorful and nice, and there's water, and there's sky, and there's clouds, and there's trees, and there's dogs.
There's Surfing Santa. Look, there he is. Look at Surfing Santa.
I know, Surfing Santa. He's about to come off retirement very soon. I think he starts working just after Thanksgiving there. There'll be some reggae Christmas music going around. So again, we're live, guys. If you have questions, you can post them right in the comments, just like Brett gave us a yay, go, Erin. Feel free to post a question. And we have
Pam, I saw you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Pam, you should know I still haven't even unpacked the box yet. So it's not that I haven't made the video or posted it. It's that I didn't even unpack the box.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But this is me.
That's what you do. Well, and then here's a live video. So it's, what about, is there going to be, imagine these guests you bring on, people that you talk to find out what's the point. And then they maybe, any goal in you kind of bringing them on to maybe cook a meal with them or something? Are we going to see maybe a kind of a blog combo with cooking, where you're just kind of like cooking with people and getting down to the nitty gritty?
Maybe, I really, we had talked about this, that I would love to maybe set something up like that if we can figure out how to do that. I think that would be really good, a really good way to do the podcast, like while we cook, and to do these videos and to be able to have these conversations. It's definitely a possibility for a format, but finding the location to do that format, to be able to do that and all the editing and all that stuff. So maybe it's a possibility.
I think that'll be fun. And it's for Erin Bites, what are some recipes? What are some things that are on a cooker that we're going to see you cooking soon? I mean, we got Thanksgiving around the corner. There's got to be some stuff.
It's so funny you should ask, because I don't know, when I can't sleep, I make these lists, and I've been making a list recently, and there's some things that I want to cook. So for example, I had asked my friends for some interesting ingredients or tools that they might want me to use. And somebody said Spam, and somebody else said a grapefruit spoon, with the serrated edges. So I would like to do something where I incorporate Spam and a grapefruit spoon. I think that'll be fun. Also, I made those tomato rounds that are so pretty, and we kind of made them one way that we make them in my family, like a Southern style. And I've been thinking about all these other ways that you could make them. So I want to do like the nationality of tomato rounds all in one platter and see how those different ones come out. You and I went to visit Rochester, New York, where we ate a garbage plate. And I started thinking about all the things that you could do with a garbage plate, everything you could put in just one plate of food. So we might explore that a little bit. And there's a pasta that I make that I don't even think I've ever made it for you. I used to call it my something out of nothing pasta. When somebody would come over to the house and I had nothing except for like 3 things, I could make this really good pasta dish. So I think I might do that. Maybe some stuffed burgers. And then
Juicy Lucy.
A Juicy Lucy. And then I have a special brand of Juicy Lucy though. That's really good. My mouth is watering for it right now. That maybe I'll make that. And then, I don't know how much of this I want to say out loud, but we have talked about, how the beauty of single bites of food, how nice it is to be able to eat one bite of everything and be able to taste all the things instead of just have to have this full meal of the same thing. So that's something that I would really like to explore as well.
Tasting menus.
Tasting menus is something that I would really like to start exploring a little bit further.
So maybe you won't have such gigantic take-home dishes anymore.
Right. So I don't have to take 3 boxes home. Maybe I could just take one tiny box, or no boxes at all. I could just have a bite and then another bite, and then, oh, you know what? I can't eat anymore.
I am for no boxes. That sounds
No
good.
boxes.
Yeah. So it's this is good stuff. So what is it? Yeah. What does it all mean? What's the point? And maybe you'll really like doing that. And kind of getting to the bottom of the people's stories and find out, but maybe finding out what lights other people up might light you up.
Maybe I'll learn that I don't actually hate people, and I actually enjoy listening to what they have to say.
You don't hate people. It's a funny thing. You and Brett. Oh yeah, you guys love people, and you.
I think Brett finally admitted that he does not hate people the other day, but it was. I mean, I might have heard a rumor.
I did see Brett post something about you let the cat out of the bag, but yeah, that's cool. So is there anything that I'm not asking you? Anything else that you want to kind of let the world know?
I just wanted to say something funny that I think that I can't believe you haven't said it. That where did we come up with what's the point? Why am I doing what's the point? I mean, I ask what's the point all the time, but do you remember when I started asking what's the point? We were watching Austin Powers, and Austin's spinning around on the bed.
Yes,
and she's trying to tell him all the reasons why she won't be with him. And he turns around and he goes, "What's your point, Vanessa?" And that night we had a bartender named Vanessa. And I think we've said, "What's the point? What's your point, Vanessa?" 38,000 times between now and then.
Yep. It's like yes and. It's like yes and. Yes and.
Funny. What's your point, Vanessa?
Exactly. What's
all
your
the Vanessas out there, if you're listening, wondering what's the point, get in touch with me. I'll have you first.
Oh, that's a great scene. So, whatever, for people that want to get in touch with you, what are some good ways to do it?
Well, I do have social media these days, although I'm not as active on it as I might like to be, because what's the point? I am Erin Bites on Facebook, TikTok. My YouTube, I only have a folder. I don't have a channel yet, but on YouTube, I'm with Sky Limitless Media. I'm in a folder that says Erin Bites. And then on Instagram, I'm Erin Bites with an underscore underneath, because somebody has Erin Bites. And by the way, if you're out there, can you let me know? So I let it go, please, so that I could have it, because you're not even using it. And then also, I think most everybody out there has my phone number. You could just text me.
Easy enough, right?
Yeah.
All right. I like it. Any parting words or last minute advice? Some things maybe you want the world to know, or that you've learned in your 40 plus years of living?
No, I don't want to know what I want to tell everybody else. I want everybody else to tell me their wisdom. So please get in touch with me if you have something you'd like to share, and if you think you'd be a good candidate on what's the point, if you have an amazing why, or if you have something you really love and you're really passionate about, please get in touch with me. I would love to get this started with you.
Well done. You heard it here, folks. Erin Feldman, aka Erin Bites, aka Erin. What's the point? Thanks for joining us today. It was a lot of fun, and we'll see you guys out there all in the virtual land, and maybe we'll see Erin, see what she's cooking up. And she's cooking up some delicious meals mixed with some delicious conversations, and it's all intertwined in one place. And maybe she'll figure out what the whole meaning of life is, and what's
maybe I'll figure out what's the point.
Well, we wish you well. Get out there and do it. If you're not doing something that makes you happy, get to it. Do something that makes you happy right now.
Right.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.